everyone, in this video we'll discuss about the concept of array in C programming. An array is a derived data type in C programming that is constructed from the fundamental data types of the C programming language. An array is a collection of similar type of data elements in a single entity. In implementation, when require n number of values of the same data type, then recommended creating an array. When we are working with array, always memory is constructed in a continuous memory location. That's why possible to access the data randomly. When we are working with arrays, all values will share the same name with the unique identification value called index. And always array index must be required to start with 0 and end with size of the array minus 1. And when we are working with array, we are required to use an array subscript operator. There are three types of arrays in C programming: one-dimensional array, two-dimensional array, and multi-dimensional array. One-dimensional array is the simplest form of array. One-dimensional array is an array that has only one subscript specification that is needed to specify a particular element of an array. A one-dimensional array is a structured collection of components called array elements that can be accessed individually by specifying the position of a component with the single index value. In 1D array, data is stored in linear fashion. Next is how to declare one-dimensional array in C programming. We know that all the variables are declared before they are used in the program. Similarly, an array must be declared before it is used. During declaration, the size of the array has to be specified. The size used during declaration of the array informs the compiler to allocate and reserve the specified memory location. The syntax for declaring arrays: data type, array name, then size of the array. For example, int age of 5. Int is a data type, age is the name of the array, and 5 is the size of the array. That means in this array, 5 elements are stored. An array index always starts from 0. For example, if an array variable is declared as age of 5, then it ranges from 0 to 5. Each array element is stored in a separate memory location. Each element of array can be accessed and used by a user according to the need of the program. The first element always stored at index 0 and the last element is stored at index size of array minus 1. Here the size of array is 5 times the size of int because there are 5 elements. Suppose the starting address of age of 0 is 2120D and then the size of integer is 4 byte, then the next memory address will be 2124 and the address of A2 will be 2128D and so on. In this case, array is of integer type, integer take 4 bytes. First element of array is stored at index age of 0. The second element is stored at index age of 1 and so on. Next is initialization of 1D array. Array can be initialized at declaration time. For example, int age of 5 is equal to 2, 4, 34, 3 and 4. In this case, int is a data type, age is the name of the array and 5 is the size of the array, and in this array, total number of elements are 5. It is not necessary to define the size of array during initialization. In this case, the compiler determines the size of array by calculating the number of elements of an array. Array always starts with index 0. First element is stored at index age of 0. Second element is stored at index age of 1 and so on. Finally, last element of an array is stored at index age of 4. This is the initialization of an array. Let's see the example. of one-dimensional array. Array is a variable that can store multiple values. For example, if you want to store 100 integer, then you can create array for it. How to create array? Data type, then name of the array. A is the name of the array and 100 is the size of the array. If you want to declare array of float type, then the data type is float and mark is the name of the array and 5 is the size of the array. Here we declared an array mark of floating point type and its size is 5. That means it can hold 5 floating points value only. And in the first case, A is an array of integer type that can hold 100 integer values. It is very important to note that the size and type of array cannot be changed once it is declared. How to assess array elements? We can assess element of an array by indices. Suppose we declare an array mark and the first element is mark of 0. The second element is mark of 1 and so on. Mark of 0 is the first element. If the size of array is n, to assess the last element, the n-1 index is used. Next is how to initialize an array. We can also initialize an array during declaration, like int mark of 5. This is the declaration of an array. Then assign values 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. 5 values are assigned to this array. We can also initialize array like this. In this case, we have not specified the size. However, the compiler knows its size is 5 as we are initializing it with 5 elements. We can also change value of array elements like mark of 2 is equal to 6 and mark of 3 is equal to 8. Now in this case, the third value is replaced with 6 and then the fourth value is replaced with 8. Next is how to input and output array elements. We can print an array elements with the help of printf function. Printf %d, name of the array is mark. If you want to print second element, then mark of 1. Let's see the output. Element at index 1 is to be printed onto the screen. If you want to print first element, then mark of 0. First element is to be printed onto the screen. If you want to print last element, then mark of 4. Last element of array is 9. We can also take input from the user and store it in array element with the help of scanf function. Scanf %d, comma, ampersand, name of the array and index number if you want to input first element. Then mark of 0 if you want to input second element, then mark of 1 and so on. If you want to display element at index 0, then you use printf function. Printf name of the array and index number. First of all, input first element of an array, then after processing, display array element onto the screen. With the help of scanf function, input array element, and with the help of printf function, display array element onto the screen. Now if we want to input all the array elements at once, then declare one loop counter variable. I is a loop counter variable. Then with the help of for loop, for I is equal to 0, I is less than 5 and I plus plus. Inside the body of for loop, with the help of scanf function, input array elements, name of the array, and then index. I is the index. After input array elements, then apply for loop for displaying array elements onto the screen. I is equal to 0, I less than 5 and I plus plus. Inside the body of for loop, we use printf function for displaying array elements onto the screen. Run this code. Now after the execution of this code, first of all input array elements. Then with the help of printf function, display array elements onto the screen. First of all, I is 0. 0 is less than 5. Condition is evaluated to be true. Then input element at index mark of 0. Then I plus plus I become 1. 1 is less than 5. Again condition is evaluated to be true. Then input element at index mark of 1. I plus plus I become 2. 2 is less than 5. Condition become true. Then input element at mark of 2 and so on. When I become 5, 5 is less than 5. Condition is evaluated to be false. Then second for loop is to be executed. I is 0. 0 is less than 5. Condition is evaluated to be true. Then display array element at index mark of 0. Then I plus plus I become 1. 1 is less than 5. Condition is evaluated to be true. Then display element at index mark of 1 and so on. When I become 5, 5 is less than 5. Condition is evaluated to be false. Then control transfer to the out of loop. If initialization of an array is there, in this case there is no need of input. Elements are already there. Just apply a for loop and inside the body of for loop use printf function. With the help of printf function, display array elements onto the screen. Now after the execution of this code, the output is 1, 4, 5, 6 and 7. First of all, I is 0. 0 is less than 5. Condition is evaluated to be true. Then mark of 0. Element at index mark of 0 is to be printed onto the screen. Then I plus plus I become 1. 1 is less than 5. Again condition become true. Then element at index mark of 1 is to be printed onto the screen and so on. Now if we want to compute the sum and average of 5 integers, for sum and average we have to declare variable sum and average. Sum is a variable of integer type and initialize it with 0. And average is a variable of float type. Inside the body of for loop, apply the logic sum is equal to sum plus mark of I. When this condition is evaluated to be false, then control transfer to the out of loop, then compute the average. AVG is equal to sum divided by 5. Then after that, with the help of printf function, display the average of 5 integers. Average is equal to %f and percentage f display the value of avg. Now run this code. After the execution of this code, average of first 5 integer is 4.6 zeros. First of all, I is 0. 0 is less than 5, condition is evaluated to be true. Then sum is equal to sum plus mark of I. Sum is 0, 0 plus mark of I. Element at index mark of 0 is 1. 0 plus 1, 1. Then I plus plus I become 1. 1 is less than 5. Condition is evaluated to be true. Then sum is equal to sum plus mark of I. Sum is 1 and element at index mark of 1 is 4. 4 plus 1, 5. I plus plus I become 2. 2 is less than 5. Again condition is evaluated to be true. Then sum is equal to sum plus mark of I. Sum is 5 plus mark of 2. Element at second index is 5. 5 plus 5, 10. Then I plus plus I become 3. 3 is less than 5. Condition is evaluated to be true. Then sum is equal to sum plus mark of 3. Sum is 10 and element at index mark of 3 is 6. 10 plus 6, 16. Then I plus plus I become 4. 4 is less than 5. Condition is evaluated to be true. Then sum is equal to sum plus mark of I. Sum is 16 plus element at index 4 is 7. 16 plus 7 is 23. I plus plus I become 5. 5 is less than 5. Condition is evaluated to be false. Then control transfer to the out of loop. Average is equal to sum divided by 5. Sum is 23 divided by 5. Result is 4 point something. If we want to display a result up to 2 decimal point only, then use percentage point 2f.